The Westpac Melbourne Institute survey came out for the November reading this week, and it was a bit of a doozy. After a few months where it had been weak and had relapsed from an earlier partial recovery, we saw the index bounce nearly 13% to over 100. That means that there are more optimists than there are pessimists. It's the first time that's happened since 2022. And the reading we got, if you exclude the COVID period, is the best in 7 years. Now, there's a bit of a mix underneath the total. People are feeling more optimistic about the future. Their assessments of how the economy will be in a year's time or 5 years' time have strengthened noticeably. And most people expect their own finances to be stronger in 12 months than they are now. But there is a little bit of a wrinkle there. People's assessments of how their finances are now compared with a year ago didn't improve anywhere near as much. And we also saw that most of the improvement was in people who didn't have a mortgage, either because they were a renter or they own their home outright. Sentiment amongst people with mortgages actually went down a touch. And so while we're seeing a more positive story, there is a nuance to it that we need to be aware of. And if those more optimistic expectations aren't actually fulfilled, confidence could be dashed again. So why might consumers be feeling better about the future? I think for a lot of them, they're noticing that trade disputes have eased. There was also the deal between the US and Australia on rare earths. But probably the bigger picture is that we're coming out of a long period where the combination of inflation, higher taxation, and higher interest rates is finally unwinding. People have got a bit more money to spend and they can see a better future going forward. Now, for the people with mortgages, they're a bit less optimistic, and that's not surprising. We've just been through a couple of months where inflation has picked up and there was a lot of talk about the Reserve Bank not being in a position to cut rates. And indeed, households are not expecting rate cuts to the extent they were a couple of months ago. A majority of people expect the mortgage interest rate to either stay steady or pick up over the next 12 months. And it's a higher share of households surveyed in November than a couple of months ago. The data might seem a little surprising given the change in the interest rate outlook, but I think this tells us that there is more to life than interest rates and RBA decisions. And of course, only about a third of households even have a mortgage. Other people are renting or own their home outright. And so they're also influenced by other factors, including broader cost of living pressures and the overall economic environment, including overseas. So given these stronger expectations and the easing in cost of living pressures, many households are reporting that they consider now a good time to buy a major household item. And more households are saying yes to that question than a few months ago. Likewise, as we always do in November, we ask people about their plans for Christmas spending. And while most people say they're going to try and cut back, the number of people who said they were actually going to spend more than last year was a bit higher than the last couple of years. So there's a little bit more optimism and a little bit more willingness to spend after a long period where the household sector had been so squeezed by cost of living pressures. And in line with what people have been reporting that they're planning to spend, we are actually seeing a bit of a pickup in growth in household spending in our own Westpac DataX card tracker. Looking forward, we'll get another read on Christmas spending and household sentiment with the December read of this monthly indicator. And we'll also get to see whether this surprising pickup in optimism about the future actually has legs.